Shooting on the U.S. border, the images here tonight. The American who tried to drive through. Authorities say he opened fire, and then he was shot and killed. We have new reporting tonight on the missing mom, her estranged husband, and his girlfriend arrested. And tonight, why authorities are now zeroing in on a trash plant today. The dramatic rescue pictures coming in at this hour. The 74-year-old woman hiking, rescued, spinning in the stretcher as she was lifted out and returned to Normandy. Tonight, the chilling descriptions from the heroes themselves, young American sons who changed the course of history, what they saw, what they did, as tonight, they journey back.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from London.
And good evening from London. We are here for the president's visit tonight before we head to Normandy, France, and we will get to all of that in just a moment here. But we do begin tonight with the breaking headline involving the deadly massacre in Pakland, Florida. We all remember 17 students and teachers were killed. Tonight, there are new charges. A former sheriff's deputy seen on surveillance outside that high school as the rampage was underway inside has now been criminally charged tonight. They say his inaction cost lives. On another surveillance camera, we saw the gunman making his way through that school while that deputy was outside. Tonight here, the results are just in after a 15-month investigation. And ABC's Victor Akendo leads us off from Florida.
As the horror was unfolding inside Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, students taking cover to escape the gunfire. Outside, the school's resource officer, Broward Sheriff's Deputy Scott Peterson, hearing the shots.
I think we got shots fired. Possible shots fired. 1200 building.
Heading toward the building in this golf cart, then taking position outside for 27 minutes, never entering the building. When it was all over, 17 people were dead, another 17 injured. Tonight, that Florida deputy is under arrest, charged with 11 criminal counts, including 7 counts of child neglect. A state review finding Peterson refused to investigate the source of gunshots, retreated while victims were being shot, and directed officers away from the building. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement saying there can be no excuse for his complete inaction and no question that his inaction cost lives. In an interview on the Today Show last year, Peterson said at the time he thought the shots were coming from outside.
I hear 2 to 3 loud shots. I immediately stop. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I hear shots outside.
You know it's gunshots.
I thought they were gunshots. And I thought they were outside immediately. And the first thing I thought was, somebody's shooting at us.
Tonight, Fred Guttenberg, who lost his daughter Jamie in the shooting, tweeting, "Rot in hell, Scott Peterson. You could have saved some of the 17. You could have saved my daughter. You did not. And then you lied about it, and you deserve the misery coming your way."
And Victor Akendo is with us live tonight from Florida. And Victor, we know that deputy had already resigned, and today he was taken into custody.
That's right, David. He was taken into custody on a $102,000 bond. If convicted on all charges, he's looking at more than 96 years in prison. One of his attorneys tonight saying he is surprised by these criminal charges. David?
Victor Akendo leading us off tonight from Florida. Victor, thank you. Now to President Trump's official state visit right here in the UK. The president with Prime Minister Theresa May today, who he once heavily criticized. What he said today, now that she has just days left in power. Meantime, thousands protested and marched through the streets here. The president did not shy away from weighing in on the turmoil here in the UK. And about the protest today, he said all he saw was tremendous spirit and love. ABC's Terry Moran is with us here in London tonight.
On the streets of London today, Trump supporters and thousands of anti-Trump protesters scuffled as police struggled to separate them. There were chants and placards and that Trump balloon. But when asked about it all at his press conference with Prime Minister Theresa May, the president simply brushed it off.
And I heard that there were protests. I said, where are the protests? I don't see any protests. I did see a small protest today when I came, very small.
And in fact, on this rainy day, turnout was far smaller than the 250,000 organizers promised, or even the 75,000 they claimed. On this trip, the American president has made himself a major player in British politics, weighing in again on Brexit, Britain leaving the European Union, which has divided this country and sparked political chaos.
I would say, yeah, I would think that it will happen, and it probably should happen. This is a great great country, and it wants its own identity.
The president was gracious towards Theresa May, who has announced her resignation. On a previous visit to the UK, he said she was handling Brexit talks all wrong.
I seem to remember the president suggested that I sued the European Union, which we didn't do. We went into negotiations and we came out with a good deal.
Yeah, that's not such a... I would have sued, but that's okay. I would have sued and settled, maybe, but you never know. She's probably a better negotiator than I am.
On this visit, every Trump moment has been scrutinized by the British press, that dinner with the Queen, and most of all, this wink from Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, after she and Prince Charles had the Trumps to tea. Tonight, Charles and Camilla are the president's guests at a grand dinner at the U.S. ambassador's residence.
And Terry Moran is with us here in London tonight. And Terry, two people who were not at that dinner, Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan. But President Trump did reveal today that he spoke with the prince on his visit to Buckingham Palace.
That's right, David. In an interview with Piers Morgan, the president saying he thought Prince Harry was a terrific guy and that Harry couldn't have been nicer to him. About Meghan Markle, who's criticized the president in the past, he said she was nasty about me, and that's okay for her to be nasty. It's not good for me to be nasty about her, and I wasn't. So there you have it. David?
Terry Moran across town here in London tonight. Terry, thank you. Next tonight, we turn to that deepening mystery. The CDC is now on the case involving that American couple, healthy and on their dream vacation, when they suddenly came down with a mystery illness and then dying at a hospital in Fiji. And tonight, several others are reportedly under observation now. Here's ABC's Paula Ferris.
It was the trip of a lifetime, but David and Michelle Paul didn't make it out of Fiji alive. The Texas couple dying within days of one another from a mysterious illness. The couple, both in their 30s, both healthy and active. David, an Air Force veteran, Michelle, a former student athlete. They arrived May 22nd, but soon fell ill. And now a report from the Fiji Sun that 5 locals who came in contact with them are under observation and showing similar symptoms. And at least 10 resort staff where they stayed have been asked to go on precautionary leave. Fiji's government is leading the investigation with the CDC monitoring the couple leaving behind a young son and daughter. Tonight, their family in search of answers.
And this is really my biggest appeal. If the CDC is watching, is please do your work, because I need your help to find out what happened.
The CDC does not know what the couple died from, but they will be receiving and testing samples from the autopsy. If it's determined that they died from infectious disease, the CDC will most likely be issuing a travel advisory. David?
Paula Ferris tonight. Paula, thank you. We continue to watch the devastating and historic flooding back home. This home in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, is now an island threatened by the Arkansas River, tonight at an all-time high. These homes and buildings already lost only rooftops above the water in Conway, Arkansas. In Iowa tonight, I-29 and I-680 are flooded and closed to traffic. There is more rain coming. Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z is tracking it all for us. Ginger?
David, tonight, the damaging winds would be the main threat, and especially in parts of Wisconsin, down through Illinois, including Chicago and St. Louis. So keep an eye on that tonight. Keep an eye on flash flood potential from Houston over to southwestern Louisiana as we go through the early morning hours and afternoon tomorrow. We're talking 2-inch-per-hour rainfall rates, and then that moisture moves north to the areas that don't need it, Arkansas, Missouri, and yes, even along the Mississippi River, David.
All right, Ginger, thank you. And now to the deadly shooting on the U.S. border tonight. The American who tried to drive through a busy crossing. Authorities say when they tried to stop him, he opened fire. They shot and killed him. Here's ABC's Matt Guppin tonight.
Those gunshots shattering the routine of one of America's busiest ports of entry.
All of a sudden, we were like, bah, 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 bah. And I thought it was just like an M80 or fireworks or something.
Just outside of San Diego, the San Ysidro port handles more than 2 million vehicles a month. But it all came to a terrifying standstill late Monday. That 23-year-old white male driving in from Mexico, allegedly refusing to stop at an inspection area, which includes a slalom course of barriers. Instead, that suspect tried to drive through the barrier into the United States. Officers trying to stop him. The suspect's car eventually blocked by another vehicle. Police say that's when the suspect allegedly opened fire. Officers say they returned fire, killing him.
David, investigators are still collecting evidence at the scene. Now, there were 7 officers involved in this shooting. None of them was hurt. David.
Matt Gutman reporting tonight. Matt, thank you. The other headline involving the U.S. and Mexico. President Trump is now facing a possible revolt from his own party over his threat to impose tariffs on Mexico, he says, to deal with immigration. After a closed-door lunch at the Capitol today, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said there isn't much support among his members. Other senators said they feared the impact on the economy and on their states. Hours earlier, right here in London, the president said Republicans would be, quote, foolish to try to stop him. After our broadcast here tonight, we will be traveling to Normandy to mark the 75th anniversary of D-Day. And for weeks now, we have been traveling across the U.S. to meet World War II veterans who were there that day. They were young sons who would change the course of history. And tonight, right here, you will see the moment many of them meet for the first time to make that journey back together. It is a journey they never thought they would make. 75 years later, they are returning to Normandy. Harold McMurray in Newmarket, Alabama, and his uniform.
I wore part of it during the war.
And the entry in his diary that fateful morning.
June 6, 1944. Invasion started 7:15 a.m. English time.
That would be all he wrote for 5 harrowing days.
I didn't have time to do any entries, but the next one was the 11th.
Harold, at 94, drives to the airport. He's going back. So is Jack Claiborne from Dyersburg, Tennessee.
This is me sitting there.
Harold Himmelsbach was raised in Yakima, Washington. He's now packing the letters he wrote to his mother just days after D-Day. You write, I'll leave all the bloody details to be written to Leo.
Yeah, he's my brother.
Your brother.
I tell him.
Harold, with descriptions of war he thought only a brother should hear. Vincent Unger from Orlando, Florida.
And this is my baby, my ship.
Vincent going back too. Onofrio Zakari, Las Vegas, Nevada, part of the 5th Amphibious Brigade on D-Day.
That's our company pad. We wore this on our shoulders, on our jackets.
All of them leaving home again.
I'm on my way to Normandy.
They have yet to meet one another, but they already share a bond. They were all there that morning, June 6th, 1944, the largest amphibious invasion in military history. 50 miles of Normandy coastline, the beaches with code names, Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. And what they did would change the course of the war. Harold Himmelsbach remembers the wake-up at 3 a.m. It was not long after. When you looked around and saw all of those ships, did you think this is actually happening?
Yes, I sure did.
Could you see the beach?
It was just a couple of thousand yards, you know.
And then they saw things they will never forget. Harold McMurray, 4th Infantry Division.
First I was afraid, then I was scared, and then I was numb. The medics was overwhelmed with wounded people. Sometimes they were wounded themselves they would try to perform. Sometimes they would be in worse shape than the men that's trying to take care of. We all had what we called a buddy, and we knew that buddy would give his life for us, and vice versa.
Onofrio Zakari remembers the orders.
The officers are saying, let's go inland. We got to go. I can't even get up, for God's sakes. I mean, it was just fire over your heads all the time.
Vincent Unger, 2nd-class signalman in the Navy.
The water was from an orange to a deep red for miles, 20 miles down the coast.
More than 4,000 Allied troops were killed, but their brothers would prevail. When you go back to Normandy, I'm sure you'll be thinking of some of those brothers you lost.
Yep, that's right.
What does this trip mean to you?
Well, this is my last trip here, I expect. Because of my age, I'm 93, I'm almost 94.
I'm hoping that going back to Normandy gives me closure of some kind.
I hope I get out and other people see through my eyes.
These veterans are aware that at their age, we're now losing more than 300 World War II veterans in the U.S. every day.
I'm sure it's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, which is why we need to remember.
That's right.
Each of these men flying to Atlanta to meet up and then fly together to France. The pilot thanking them before they even board.
We can never repay you for the debt that you have paid for us. So thank you very much. We'll start boarding with the veterans first. Thank you.
by one. Harold Himmelsbach walking to the gate with his daughter Sue behind him.
Have a good flight, sir.
Thank you.
Harold McMurrin brought to that plane. Jack Claiborne on board too. Vincent Unger and Onofrio Zakari looking out at this journey ahead. All of them ready.
I'm so pleased and excited because I never thought I'd be coming. But here I am, and I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, we will be in Normandy with those World War II veterans. I told them I would meet them there, and they told us they have plenty they want to show us. That's tomorrow night and Thursday night right here. In the meantime, next tonight here, a new focus in the search for that missing mother of 5 after police revealed they have discovered evidence of her blood. ABC's Eva Pilgrim is in Connecticut tonight.
Tonight, the search for missing Connecticut mother Jennifer DeLuces focusing on this trash plant in Hartford.
Where's Jennifer?
This after police revealed evidence against her estranged husband and his girlfriend.
Where is she?
Surveillance from the night Jennifer disappeared allegedly shows Fatiste DeLuces throwing away multiple garbage bags near that plant. Police say his girlfriend, Michelle Triconis, was with him and that the evidence detectives later recovered tested positive for Jennifer DeLuces' blood. It's been 2 weeks since the mother of 5 vanished after dropping her children off at school.
Do you know what happened to Jennifer?
Tonight, Triconis is out on bond. Fatiste remains behind bars, both facing charges for evidence tampering and hindering the prosecution.
David, today Jennifer's mother filed for custody of her 5 children, asking a judge to allow the children to stay in her care, even if their father is able to bond out of jail. David?
To the index of other news tonight, in a dramatic rescue from the Phoenix Mountain, images showing a 74-year-old woman airlifted from a local peak after suffering an injury, spinning violently in that stretcher. There is no word yet tonight on her condition. And is white meat really better for your health than red meat? A new study tonight in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition finding a diet including white meat like chicken or turkey had roughly the same effect on LDL, that's your bad cholesterol, as a diet packed with red meats like beef, though they say there are other reasons to avoid red meat. The best option, they say, plant-based proteins. When we come back, Jeopardy. Finally tonight here, Jeopardy James meets his match in a young librarian and what he's saying tonight about her.
This is Jeopardy!
Alex Trebek began by thanking the reigning champ for something else.
My thanks to your beautiful little daughter, Natasha, for having made this get well card for me. That was very sweet of her. Thank you.
Last night's game started like so many before.
Literature 1000.
Daily double.
What is Magic Mountain?
You are right. James?
What is comparing apples and oranges?
Yeah. James?
What is crudité?
Good.
Jeopardy James would meet his match in 27-year-old Emma Betcher, a young librarian from Chicago, who auditioned for Jeopardy 4 times before being selected. She wrote her master's thesis on the game.
Daily double.
Now I think I got to make it a true daily double.
All right. 15,200.
What is Annapolis?
That's right.
And then Final Jeopardy.
His response was correct. His wager, a modest one for the first time.
But Emma got it right too.
You did.
What this time, she did what James often did. She went all in. A new champion and a high five from James.
What a game. Oh my God.
Something that makes me really happy is that I didn't beat myself. I lost to an elite player playing a near-perfect game.
We knew it couldn't last forever, but now we root for Emma. I'll see you tomorrow reporting from Normandy. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.